Hey guys, Prepper Nurse 1 here. Um, this video was done per request. A couple people, different people actually have asked about this topic, so I thought I would go ahead and do a video on it and what my thoughts would possibly could happen. Okay. Um, they asked, they said, well, we don't have any land. We live in an apartment complex or we live in an apartment building, and in the city or in suburbia. And what do we think, or what do I think that, what would happen in a situation with, no laws and worst case scenario type of situation. So, realistically, let's say you lived in a major city, like let's say New York City or someplace like in New Jersey or something to that effect, and you're in the city itself, okay, and you live in an apartment building. Let's go with that scenario. You live in an apartment building, and you prep on whatever scale you can living in that apartment building. Well, realistically, in my opinion, you would have, if you wanted to try to lay low, you might have about a week to do that. And in that week, a lot of stuff would happen in that week. I'll be honest with you. A lot of looting and and stuff like that would be going on. But eventually, whatever gangs of people that were left after, there would be a huge, huge loss of life, a lot of killings, and stuff like that. What I think what would happen, and I'll be honest with you, once they've utilized the supplies or whatever that was available, they're basically going to go door to door in an apartment building, or like one of those huge apartment or building, yeah, huge buildings. They'll go door to door, kick the doors in, and see what supplies or whatever are in each apartment. That will definitely happen, and eventually they will come to your apartment. And now, let's say you decide to give them a decent amount of resistance. They may just try to burn you out. I mean, realistically, that they would set your apartment building on fire. Um, if you won't give up what you have, they'll burn you out, and when you come running out of the building, then they'll shoot you. I mean, that's the reality. Um, that's probably not what a lot of people want to hear, but that's the reality of the situation. So, as I had suggested before, having caches of food leading away from the city out into what suburbia or the country or whatever, having things buried in place um, along a planned route that you have ahead of time, or different routes. Having more than one plan is definitely a good thing, okay? But to escape, to get away, to give yourself a chance, it's all about giving yourself a chance, okay? So, realistically, I think a week might be too long to say that you have a week. You might not have a week. But, initially, the first couple of days, 3, 4 days maybe, I think you'd be okay. Um, Suggestions on what you should do, like I said, what I would do is, I know that like apartment complexes and apartment buildings, there's a high turnover. But if you know other people in that building that have been there longer term and, are decent people, I would talk to them and talk about working together if something really, really bad happens. And you don't have to say worst case scenario, because you don't, like I said, a lot of people will think you're crazy and whatnot. But you talk about working together if there was like a major storm and, the power was out, and so that, you can go that route to talk to people, okay? Find out, or talk and say, what do you think of preppers? What do you think of people that prepare for an emergency situation, and stuff like that? I mean, you can go that route and talk like that as well, okay? and just kind of feel people out and see who's on board, who's not on board. You know, and there's certain people you're not going to want to work with. Obviously, there's those types of people that you're like, no way, I want to work with them. Those are the ones you got to watch out for. So, you know, having a game plan, and I talked about this before as well, having a game plan in place ahead of time is very, very important. Knowing how to act instead of react, okay? So, you know, you really should have some kind of game plan to get out of the city. Because realistically, being in the city is not going to be the safest place to be. Your chances of survival are going to go down drastically. And that's reality. The sooner you can get out, the better. So, you know, prepping is an awesome thing. It's going to give you the advantage over most of the people in this country, or any other country in the world, actually, because most people do not prep, okay? So it definitely gives you an advantage, but you have to have some kind of game plan in place. You really, really do. Like I said, have supplies on some route and more than one cache of stuff. You know, okay, if I just leave with the shirt on my back and if I get to destination A, I know I dig that up and this is what I have. Um, you really need to think about that, guys. I'm telling you. And, you know, if you want to survive, see, here's the things what a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people would say, oh, yeah, well, I would just give up and da 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 da. No, you won't. Because the will to live is so strong, it's ingrained in us as human beings that we want to survive. And we'll do everything in our power to survive, okay? But there's also a lot of very, very bad people out there that are going to take and they're going to hurt people. And they're going to do it for fun, you know? So, or in the name of fun. So the really important thing is, and this is and again, this is strictly my opinion. I mean, you may think, well, I live in this big apartment complex and there's people that'll work together and, we'll be fine. Well, if somebody burns you out, you're not going to be fine. If they set your building on fire, you're screwed. And there's no fire department to come and rescue you. You know what I mean? So, but I believe that gangs of people will come into buildings and they will go apartment to apartment, and looting and doing whatever else they want to do. That's once they get organized, and they will, and it won't take that long. I mean, if you live in a city, there are gangs, like I said, I know that I've said in, like with Rochester alone, and I just went with biker gangs. That's the point that I made. There was 21% clubs in Rochester area alone, okay? So that they're going to work together. Now, I'm not even talking about the street gangs. Street gangs, they're also going to work together because that's a family, that's a brotherhood to them, okay? And they're going to work together. And you think they're going to just let you go ahead and say, yeah, you go ahead and do what you want to do. No, they're going to take everything that you got and, they might let you leave and they might not. So, I mean, you really need to have a game plan. I would suggest, like I say, having caches of stuff along a route. Even if you don't have a major destination in mind, giving yourself a chance to survive is very, very key. Even to the point of, and again, it really depends on where you live. I mean, that's if you're out in the Midwest, in like let's say Phoenix. I mean, you're in a desert area, so having water and stuff like that's going to be key to survival. And having a route or a destination where, okay, if I get to here, I should be okay. I mean, like, New York City, if you lived in New York City, you would not want to stay in New York City. You would want to get out of there, okay? So you got to look at that as well. And you got, keeping a low profile is definitely key. So, that's my suggestion. I mean, I know that probably not what a lot of people want to hear because they have this fantasy that they think that people are going to help and work together, and some may, but you need to try to find out who those people are going to be ahead of time, okay? But staying in place in the city, your chances of survival are not going to be great, guys. They're really not. There's too many people that are, like I said, that are have bad intentions. And like I said, and I've said this before, you take away a man's creature comforts, his comfortable chair, his TV, his heat, his alcohol, his drugs, and his food, and you've turned that person into an animal that's trying to survive. And I don't care how meek and mild they used to be, you take away those things, and that person's going to do whatever he needs to do to survive. And think about, on top of that, now he's trying to provide for his children that are starving. Okay, so you know, people will do very, very bad things in a worst case scenario. So again, my advice: have a game plan. Really, truly sit down and figure out, okay, what am I going to do when things go belly up? Where am I going to go? And try to figure out a place to go where and try to have some kind of plan. And remember, here's the biggest key that you got to remember: to be flexible, to realize that plans change. Nothing stays the same. I mean, when I moved up here, I had a certain plan in my head that I had wanted to do, and that all changed because I ended up having cancer, and I had to make a change of plans, and it ended up working out really well. I mean, I can't say that it didn't. So it's just, you have to be flexible. You have to think on your feet, and you have to have a game plan in place ahead of time. That's going to be the key to your chances of surviving. It really is. And hopefully finding good people to work with ahead of time, and you might not be able to. That's the reality. You might not be able to. But that's what the beauty of the internet is, okay? The beauty of the fact that we as preppers are on here watching each other, learning from each other, and stuff like that. Maybe you have a game plan of, you contact one of these preppers and say, hey, listen, I prep and da 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 da, and I want to work with you, and I want to have your place as a destination to go. Well, if you have, food in place and supplies in place at that retreat, then you know that the only thing you need to do is to get there. Okay? So now you have an end game. Okay, this is what I need to do. This is where I'm going to go because I'm working with this group or this individual or whatever, and I know if I get there I'm going to be safe. And again, that's contacting people and reaching out. And I've talked to a few people. I had somebody up here last weekend, and from New Jersey, and I'm also having somebody come up next weekend from Pennsylvania, and we're, talking and feeling each other out, and we're getting a game plan in place. Okay, I'm also talking with somebody that lives in Rochester area, and having a destination is really important. Reaching out to people and talking to people while you still can, and having a game plan on how to get there, having caches of food along the way. Okay, really important, guys. Really, really important. So I wanted to do this video because I think it's important, because like I said again, I think good people need to survive whatever's coming. And you know we got to have people that are ready to rebuild and to work together and stuff like that. I heard something in the woods, I'm sorry. So that's my video. Let me know what you think. I want to hear your comments, what your thoughts are. Please like, comment, share. Again, I appreciate all the support, guys. The channel's really doing well, and it's a testament to you guys, to be honest with you. I will keep doing videos. I'm trying to help everybody out as much as I can, and I'm trying to be honest with people. That's the key. Okay, so listen, today is Friday, the 30th of September. Overcast, kind of cloudy day. Has a few sprinkles this morning, but it's not raining now. So have a great weekend. Remember to kiss and hug the ones you love, because tomorrow is not guaranteed. And it's one thing at a time, one day at a time, or one thing at a time, one step at a time, one day at a time. Sorry, I just woke up a little while ago. So anyway, hang in there, guys. Okay, have a game plan. I'll talk to you later. Prepper Nurse went out for now.